Lucas Schneider was 52 when his life took a turn he could never have imagined. An established businessman in Hamburg and owner of a thriving import-export company, Lucas had built a comfortable life for himself over 3 decades of hard work. His spacious apartment in the Eppendorf neighborhood, overlooking the Ulster, reflected his professional success. But behind the large windows and impeccable decor, there was a void that money could not fill. Divorced for 5 years, with no children, Lucas spent most of his evenings alone. His days followed a predictable routine: wake up at 6 in the morning, go to the office, solve logistical problems, dine alone in elegant restaurants or order food at home, and fall asleep watching documentaries on television. Weekends were even worse, long periods of silence interrupted only by the sound of his own thoughts. It was during one of these lonely nights in March 2023 that Lucas decided to create a profile on an international dating app. Why not, he thought, pouring himself a whiskey as he filled in the basic information. He posted recent photos, some from the office, others from his business trips, and a brief description. German businessman seeks genuine connection. I value honesty, deep conversations, and a partner to share experiences with. What Lucas didn't know was that at that moment, on the other side of the world in Bangkok, a 34-year-old woman named Siriporn was analyzing profiles with the precision of an expert. She wasn't looking for love. She was looking for opportunities. The first contact, carefully chosen words. The message arrived 3 days later. Hi, Lucas. Your profile caught my attention. You seem like a real man, not like those boys who just want to have fun. My name is Siriporn, but you can call me Siri. I work as a nurse here in Bangkok, and I'm also looking for something real. Lucas was immediately intrigued. Siriporn's profile photo showed an attractive woman with a gentle smile, wearing a hospital uniform. The other photos showed seemingly everyday moments. Her at a Buddhist temple, preparing food, caring for what appeared to be her elderly mother. There was an authenticity to the images that touched him deeply. The photo with your mother is beautiful, Lucas replied. I admire people who take care of their families. What is it like to work as a nurse in Bangkok? The reply came quickly, and so began an exchange of messages that would continue over the next few weeks. Siriporn told moving stories about her shifts at the hospital, difficult patients, the gratitude of families when she saved lives. She described Thailand in poetic detail, the floating markets, the smell of jasmine in the streets, the sound of monks chanting at dawn. But it was in her conversations about loneliness that Siriporn really captured Lucas. Sometimes I come home from the hospital so tired and have no one to share my day with, she wrote one night. I take care of so many people, but who takes care of me? Do you understand that feeling? Lucas understood perfectly. That's exactly how I feel, he replied. My business is doing well. I have financial stability. But at night, when I get home, I realize that professional achievements don't warm a cold bed. Emotional escalation. Building the connection. After 2 weeks of texting, Siriporn suggested video calls. The first one took place on a Sunday afternoon, Monday morning in Bangkok. Lucas was nervous like a teenager before a first date. When the computer screen lit up and he saw Siriporn live, his heart raced. She was sitting in what appeared to be a modest but clean room. She spoke broken but charming English, mixed with German words she had clearly researched to impress him. Guten Morgen, mein Schatz, she said with a shy smile, and Lucas melted. The calls became daily. Siriporn always found time, no matter how tired she was from the hospital. She introduced him virtually to her mother, a Thai lady who smiled at the camera and made affectionate gestures. She showed him photos of the apartment where she lived, simple but tidy. She shared modest dreams, one day owning her own home, perhaps opening a small clinic to help poor people. You're different from the other men I've met online, Siriporn said in one of their nightly conversations. Most just want sexy photos or meaningless chatter. But you listen. You care. I feel like I've known you for years. Lucas felt the same way. He began to share things he had never told anyone before. The pain of divorce, the feeling of failure for not having started a family, the fear of growing old alone. Siriporn listened attentively, offering words of comfort at just the right moment. "It's not too late to be happy," she said. "You deserve love. You deserve a partner who values who you are." The first trip. When fantasy meets reality. After 6 weeks of intense conversations, Lucas made a decision that surprised even himself. "I want to meet you in person," he declared during a video call. "I'm coming to Bangkok." Siriporn seemed surprised, almost reluctant. "But it's so far away, so expensive. I don't want you to spend so much money on me." "It's not an expense. It's an investment," Lucas replied, already searching for flights in another browser tab. "An investment in our future." The trip was scheduled for May 2023. Lucas booked a 5-star hotel in downtown Bangkok and a business-class flight. He told his partners that he would be doing market research in Asia, not entirely untrue, since his company had some operations in the region, but everyone knew that the real reason was personal. Suvarnabhumi Airport was crowded when Lucas arrived, sweaty and anxious after 14 hours of travel. Siriporn had promised to pick him up, and there she was in the arrivals area, holding a makeshift sign with his name written in colorful letters. She wore a simple but elegant dress, and her smile was even brighter in person. "Lucas!" She ran to hug him, and he felt that all the hours of flying, all the jet lag, were worth it. The first 3 days were magical. Siriporn showed him Bangkok from an angle that tourists rarely see, local markets where she knew the vendors by name, temples hidden away from the tourist routes, street restaurants where the food was authentic and delicious. She introduced Lucas to her mother, who prepared a traditional Thai dinner in her modest apartment. In the evenings, Siriporn stayed with Lucas at the hotel, but always insisted on maintaining a certain physical distance. "I'm not that kind of woman," she explained. "In my culture, intimacy comes with commitment. I hope you understand." Lucas not only understood, he admired it. It confirmed everything he thought about her. Siriporn was different, special, authentic. The first signs, small cracks in the perfect facade. On the 4th day, something changed subtly. During breakfast at the hotel, Siriporn was quieter, looking at her cell phone frequently and seeming worried. "Is everything okay?" Lucas asked. She hesitated, biting her lower lip. "It's my mother. She needs medical treatment, but the hospital is charging in advance. It's nothing serious, but without the medicine, it could get worse." "How much does it cost?" Lucas asked immediately. "No, I can't ask you for that." Siriporn shook her head. "You've already done so much coming all this way." "Siriporn, how much?" 30,000 baht. It's a lot of money, about 800 euros. "I'll find another way, maybe a loan." Lucas was already reaching for his wallet. "Don't be silly, let me help you. We're a couple now, right? Couples help each other." Siriporn's eyes filled with tears. "How can I thank you? You are an angel sent by Buddha." She took the money and left hurriedly, promising to return in a few hours. Lucas stayed at the hotel, feeling good about himself. He was helping the woman he loved and her family. Wasn't that love? Wasn't that what real relationships were all about? When Siriporn returned, she brought supposed receipts from the hospital and photos of her mother resting after treatment. She hugged Lucas gratefully, and the last days of the trip were even more emotionally intense. At the airport, as they said goodbye, Siriporn cried in Lucas's arms. "Come back to me soon," she begged. "I can't stand being away from you." "I'll be back soon," Lucas promised. "Very soon." What Lucas didn't know as he boarded his flight back to Hamburg was that Siriporn had 4 other men waiting for messages from her, each believing he was the only one, each planning his next trip to save the woman he loved. And that was just the beginning of an elaborate charade that would cost Lucas much more than money. The apartment in Hamburg had never seemed so empty. Lucas threw his suitcase on the floor and went straight to the window, watching the Ulster under the light May rain. Bangkok was 12 time zones away, but it felt like he had left his heart there. His cell phone vibrated. Siriporn. I miss you already, my love. The house is so quiet without you. Mom asked when you're coming back. Lucas smiled, the exhaustion of the trip instantly disappearing. Soon, my beautiful. I need to organize a few things here first. At the office the next morning, his partner, Jonas Müller, noticed the immediate change. You look different, radiant, I would say. I met someone in Bangkok. Lucas couldn't hide his smile. Jonas frowned. Bangkok? Lucas, you know those tourist cities are full of... It's not like that, Lucas interrupted defensively. Siriporn is a nurse. She takes care of her sick mother. She's a family woman. Jonas raised his hands in surrender, but the look of concern remained. The second trip. Deepening the commitment. 3 weeks later, Lucas was back on a plane to Bangkok. This time he would stay for 10 days. He had prepared a surprise, an engagement ring that had cost 4,000 euros. Siriporn greeted him at the airport wearing a new dress, red, tight-fitting, different from the modest style she had worn before. Do you like it? I bought it with you in mind, she said, twirling around. Lucas felt a tightness in his chest from desire and pride. On the second day, during a romantic dinner at a floating restaurant on the Chao Phraya, Lucas knelt down with the ring. Siriporn, I want you in my life forever. Marry me. Tears streamed down her face. Yes, 1,000 times yes. But then her expression changed to concern. Lucas, there's something I need to tell you before we make this official. Lucas's heart raced. What is it? The house where my mother lives. The owner is going to sell it. She'll be evicted in 2 weeks. I tried to hide it from you. I didn't want to ruin our happiness, but... Her voice broke. How much do you need to buy the house? Lucas asked without hesitation. I can't ask for that. It's too much, 250,000 baht, almost 7,000 euros. Lucas was already calculating. I'll transfer it tomorrow. Your mother won't be out on the street. Siriporn hugged him tightly. How can I be so lucky? I promise I'll pay you back when we get married and I can work in Germany. The pattern repeats. The third trip was in July. Lucas began to notice small inconsistencies. The mother's apartment he had helped buy was never shown. Siriporn always had excuses. It's being renovated. My mother is traveling to visit relatives. The area is not safe for tourists. In addition, Siriporn was less available. Calls were often interrupted. Emergency at the hospital, honey, I'll call you later, became a common phrase. One night, while Siriporn was asleep, Lucas saw her cell phone vibrating on the nightstand. The screen lit up, showing a message. When are you coming to see me, my love? I miss you. From a contact saved as work. Lucas's stomach turned. He picked up the phone with trembling hands. There were other messages from the same number in English. The transfer has arrived. Thank you, baby. I can't wait to hold you again. Siriporn stirred in bed. Lucas quickly put the phone back, his heart beating wildly. He spent the night awake, 1,000 thoughts racing through his mind. The failed confrontation. At breakfast, Lucas tried to broach the subject subtly. Siriporn, who is work on your phone? She didn't blink. Oh, it's my supervisor at the hospital. Why? He calls you love? Siriporn laughed, touching Lucas's hand. Honey, it's a bad automatic translation. In Thai, we use affectionate terms even with colleagues. It's cultural, nothing romantic. She seemed so sincere, so innocent. Lucas wanted to believe her. He needed to believe her. I saw that he mentioned a transfer. Oh yes, the hospital was delaying my salary, so he advanced it to me. I've already paid it all back, look. She showed him bank statements that looked legitimate. Lucas felt foolish for being suspicious. I'm sorry, You're stressed about the distance. Siriporn kissed him softly. It's normal, but soon we'll be together forever in Germany, remember? We just need the visa. The fourth trip, the fiancé visa. August brought the fourth trip, this time for bureaucratic purposes. Lucas had hired an immigration lawyer to expedite Siriporn's fiancé visa. At the German consulate in Bangkok, they presented all the documentation. Photos together, chat transcripts, a declaration of intent to marry. The consular officer, a middle-aged German woman named Frau Keller, reviewed everything with a critical eye. Mr. Schneider, how long have you known Ms. Siriporn personally? 5 months of relationship, 4 face-to-face visits, Lucas replied. And financially, have you supported her? Lucas hesitated. I helped with some of the family's medical expenses, nothing more. Frau Keller took notes. How much, approximately? Maybe 15,000 euros in total. The consul's gaze hardened. Mr. Schneider, I must warn you that cases of marriage fraud are common. I recommend caution. Siriporn, who understood more German than she admitted, was visibly offended. I love Lucas. It's not about money. Frau Keller remained impartial. The process will take 3 to 6 months. We will review everything carefully. Financial escalation. Back at the hotel, Siriporn was inconsolable. She treated me like a criminal, as if I couldn't truly love you. She's just doing her job. Lucas tried to calm her down. Maybe she's right, Siriporn sobbed. Maybe I don't deserve you. I come from a poor family. I don't have a sophisticated education like German women. Stop it, Lucas hugged her. You're perfect. Let's prove to them that our love is real. In the following weeks, still in Bangkok, the financial requests increased. Mom's car broke down, 2,000 euros. Her niece needed surgery, 3,500 euros. Her apartment needed renovations to impress the visa investigators, 5,000 euros. Lucas paid for everything, even with Jonas's voice echoing in his head. You're being used. On the last day of that fourth trip, Siriporn let something disturbing slip. They were having dinner when her phone rang. She looked at the screen and quickly hung up, visibly nervous. Who was that? Lucas asked. Wrong number. But the phone rang again, and again she refused to answer. The third time, Lucas took the phone from her hand and answered it. Siri, love, why aren't you answering? My flight arrives tomorrow. I'm looking forward to... The male voice with a British accent froze when he realized it wasn't Siriporn who had answered. The silence that followed was deafening. Siriporn snatched the phone from Lucas's hand, hung up, and began to cry hysterically. It's my ex! He's stalking me! He won't accept that we're over! Please, Lucas, you have to believe me! But something inside Lucas had broken. For the first time, doubt overcame his desire to believe. Back in Hamburg, Lucas couldn't sleep. The man's voice on the phone echoed in his mind. My flight arrives tomorrow. That wasn't the behavior of a stalker ex-boyfriend. It was intimacy, expectation, joint planning. 3 days after his return, Lucas was sitting in the office of a private detective in Altona. The man in front of him, Herr Dieter Vogel, was in his 60s with grey hair and the tired look of someone who has seen too much. I need you to investigate someone in Thailand, Lucas said, pushing a folder with photos of Siriporn across the table. Vogel leafed through the material without emotion. Thai girlfriend? Fiancé, Lucas corrected, the word bitter on his tongue. Of course, Vogel sighed. You're the third German client this week with the same story. I have a partner in Bangkok, a former local police officer. He can get information that tourists would never see. It will cost 3,000 euros up front. Lucas didn't even haggle over the money anymore. He signed the contract. The fifth trip. armed with suspicions. September arrived, and surprisingly, it was Siriporn who insisted on the 5th visit. "I need you here, love. I'm having problems with my visa documents. The lawyer needs your signature in person." Lucas boarded the plane, but this time he was carrying a second cell phone, provided by Vogel with a discreet recording app. He had also arranged signals with the detective's Thai partner, a man named Somchai, who would follow him at a distance. At the Bangkok airport, Siriporn was different. Thinner, with deep dark circles under her eyes, she was clearly nervous. The hug was quick, mechanical. "Let's go straight to the lawyer's office," she said, avoiding his gaze. The office was a modest commercial room in a dilapidated building. The lawyer was a fat, middle-aged man who barely spoke English, let alone German. He presented papers that Lucas, with his business experience, immediately recognized as fraudulent. "These documents have no legal validity," Lucas said coldly. "Fake consular stamp, incorrect format, forged signature." Siriporn turned pale. The fake lawyer began stammering apologies in Thai. "Enough lies," Lucas stood up. "I want the truth. Now." The truth begins to emerge. Siriporn followed him out onto the street, desperate. "Lucas, wait, I can explain." "Then explain. Who was that man on the phone? Why this fake lawyer? How much of what you told me is true?" She collapsed right there on the sidewalk under the scorching Bangkok sun. "I had debts. Dangerous people. I needed money fast. At first you were just another one, but then I fell in love for real." "Another one?" Lucas's blood ran cold. "How many another ones are there?" Siriporn didn't answer. She just cried. Lucas's cell phone vibrated. Message from Vogel. "Check her apartment. Real address attached. Go now." The House of Lies. Somchai, the Thai investigator, waited for Lucas on a corner 3 blocks from Siriporn's supposedly modest apartment. In fact, the address led to an upper-middle-class condominium, nothing modest about it. "She's not here now. She went after you," Somchai said in heavily accented English. "We have 20 minutes, maybe." Somchai had bribed the janitor. They went up to the 4th floor. Siriporn's apartment was spacious, well-decorated, with central air conditioning, nothing like the humble photos she always showed. But what really shocked Lucas was what they found in the office. An entire wall covered with photos. 6 different men, each with his own section. Lucas recognized himself in one of them. Dozens of photos of him. Notes about his preferences. Transcripts of conversations. Copies of bank transfers. Next to him, a British man in his 50s. Note: David, 54, London, construction entrepreneur, sensitive to family stories, has already sent $47,000. Another man, Australian. Robert, 48, Sydney, recent widower, vulnerable, lonely, AUD 65,000 so far. A Frenchman, Philippe, 51, Paris, heir, fragile ego, likes to be a hero, $52,000. An American, John, 49, Texas, divorced oilman, conservative values tradition, USD 73,000. And a Swede, Anders, 56, Stockholm, executive, seeking submissive woman, SEK 580,000. Somchai quickly photographed everything. "This is evidence, a big, very organized scheme." Lucas felt nauseous. He picked up a notebook from the table. It was an operations log, dates, amounts, strategies for each man. A recent entry read, "Lucas becoming suspicious. Increase emotional drama, maybe fake pregnancy next month, or threat from local mafia." There were also Siriporn's fake passports with different names, documents from shell companies, fraudulent marriage contracts. "We need to leave. She'll be back soon," Somchai warned. The final confrontation. Lucas didn't go to the hotel. He went straight to a bar, ordered a double whiskey, and called Jonas in Hamburg. "You were right," he admitted, his voice breaking. "About everything." "How much did you lose?" Jonas asked gently. Lucas calculated mentally. 32,000 euros, maybe more. I didn't count everything. "Come home. Now. Today." "I can't." I need to confront her with evidence. I need to hear it from her. At 9 o'clock that night, Lucas was at the door of Siriporn's real apartment. He rang the bell. She opened the door, still wearing the clothes from earlier, surprised and terrified to see him there. "How did you find this place?" she stammered. "Can I come in? Or would you rather we talk in the hallway where your neighbors can hear about your 6 fiancés?" She stepped back, allowing him to enter. Her confidence had completely disappeared. She was a different person, calculating, cornered, dangerous. 6, Lucas repeated, throwing the photos Somchai had taken onto the coffee table. 6 men at the same time, all believing they were special, unique, your savior. Siriporn looked at the photos, and something changed in her expression. The mask of vulnerability fell away. What remained was coldness. "So what?" she said, lighting a cigarette. Lucas had never seen her smoke before. "You Western men come to Asia looking for young, exotic, submissive women. You want to buy a fantasy. I just sell what you want to buy. You lied about everything. Your job, your sick mother, your feelings." "My mother has been dead for 5 years, she said emotionlessly. "I do work at this. It's a job like any other. You pay to feel needed, to have someone beautiful on your arm for the illusion of being loved. I provide the service." "This is a crime, fraud, misrepresentation." Siriporn shrugged. "Prove it. All the gifts were voluntary, all the conversations you initiated. Technically, I haven't broken any Thai law." "The marriage visa was immigration fraud. That was never completed. No crime was committed." She blew smoke in his direction. "You can go to the police, but they'll laugh at you. Just another stupid farang in love. Same old story." Lucas felt utterly powerless. "Why? Why me?" "Your profile on the app screamed loneliness and money. You were the perfect target. And you were until you started asking too many questions." She stubbed out her cigarette. "Now get out of my apartment and be thankful I didn't take everything. I could have emptied your accounts if I wanted to." The terrifying discovery. Lucas was at the door when he saw a photo on the bookshelf. Siriporn with a muscular Thai man, embracing, smiling genuinely. "Who is that?" "My husband," she said casually. "Real. Married for 8 years. This," she gestured to the apartment, "is our family business. He manages operations, I do field work." The final revelation hit Lucas like a punch. He wasn't just the victim of a desperate woman. He was part of an organized criminal operation, with multiple simultaneous victims, a business structure. How many men have gone through this scheme?" Siriporn smiled cruelly. "You were number 43. My husband is approaching number 60. We have annual targets." Lucas staggered out. On the street, he vomited into the gutter. Somchai appeared from the shadows, supporting him. "Did you get the recording?" asked the investigator. Lucas nodded at his cell phone. "Everything. Every word. Good. Now let's go to the tourist police. They take fraud against foreigners seriously. It affects tourism. With this evidence, other men need to know," Lucas added, the reality sinking in. "David, Robert, Philippe, John, Anders. They all still believe the lie. The tourist crime division operated out of a government building near Khao San Road. Inspector Narong, a serious man with thick glasses, listened to the recording 3 times, taking meticulous notes. "Mr. Schneider, this is bigger than we thought," he said in impeccable English. "We already have 7 similar complaints on file. No one had the courage to pursue them. Shame, fear of exposure." Somchai spread the photos of the apartment across the table. "Clear criminal organization. Husband manages, wife executes. We need to arrest both of them." "She mentioned 60 victims," Lucas interjected, anger replacing humiliation. "We need to warn them." Narong hesitated. Legally complex. They're scattered around the world, different jurisdictions. Then I'll find them. Lucas slammed his hand on the table. I have names, countries. I'll hire investigators in each place. They deserve to know. Tracking the others over the next 3 days, Lucas turned his hotel room into a command center. Vogel, from Hamburg, coordinated international investigators. The first contact was David, the Brit from London. The call was brutal. I don't know who you are, but Siri warned me about men trying to defame her, David shouted. Obsessed ex-boyfriend. She showed me a restraining order against you. David, she has 6 men at the same time. You transferred £47,000 for a scam. You're crazy. Blocked. The call dropped. Robert, the Australian widower, reacted differently. There was a long silence after Lucas explained everything. Then, his voice breaking, he said, I knew. Deep down, I knew. But it was better than loneliness. Philippe, the Frenchman, went into complete denial. Impossible. I've known Siri for 2 years. I'm marrying her next month. Check the photos I emailed you, Lucas insisted. The wall of her apartment. You're there. We're all there. Minutes later, Philippe called back, sobbing. John, the Texan, reacted with fury. That bitch! I'm going to destroy her. I'll hire lawyers, bounty hunters, Or we can do it together, Lucas interrupted. Legally. Together, we have a strong case. Anders, the Swede, was pragmatic. How much did I lose in euros? 52,000? Tax deductible as fraud. Let's move on. The unlikely meeting. 10 days later, 4 men sat in a discreet restaurant in Bangkok. Lucas, Robert, Philippe and John. Anders participated via video call. David refused to come, still in denial. Gentlemen, Lucas began, together we lost more than 200,000 euros. But it's not about money, it's about justice. John, burly and mustachioed, slammed his glass on the table. Fuck justice, I want revenge. Revenge leads to prison, Robert, thin and pale, said quietly. My wife died 2 years ago. Siri, she filled the void. I hate to admit it, but I need closure. Philippe lit a cigarette with trembling hands. My children can't know. In France, I'll be a national joke. That's why we're doing this discreetly. Lucas opened his briefcase. Inspector Narong will build a criminal case. We just need to testify. Anders on the laptop screen adjusted his glasses. And civilly, asset recovery? Unlikely, Lucas admitted. The money has already been laundered and distributed, but her and her husband's arrest will send a message. The net closes. The Thai police set up an operation. Siriporn and her husband Krit would be arrested in the act. During a meeting with a new victim, a newly arrived German who was, in fact, an undercover police officer. Lucas watched from a surveillance van parked 100 meters from the hotel. Hidden cameras transmitted everything. Siriporn arrived on time, dressed in blue with a rehearsed smile. She greeted the fake tourist with a warm hug. She's good, Robert murmured, standing next to Lucas. Just like she was with me. In the audio recording, Siriporn began her familiar routine. Humble family, sick mother, dream of a better life. The undercover cop gave the signal. Doors blew open. 6 agents stormed the room. Siriporn tried to escape through the balcony, but was restrained. She screamed in Thai, then English, I didn't do anything. He gave me money willingly. Krit was arrested at the same time in the apartment, trying to delete files from the computer. They recovered an external hard drive with records of 12 years of operation, hundreds of victims, millions in transactions. Final revelations. During questioning, Krit negotiated a plea bargain. The operation was even bigger. Siriporn was one of 15 women working for the syndicate. He provided training, target profiles, and personalized emotional scripts. Basic psychology, Krit said coldly through the mirrored glass. Middle-aged Western men, divorced or widowed, successful but lonely. They want to be heroes, saviors. We give them a role to play. Lucas felt a renewed wave of nausea. They weren't just victims. They were studied, categorized, scientifically exploited. Narong entered the observation room. "We found connections to networks in the Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia. Interpol has been notified. This will blow up internationally." "What about the other victims?" Felipe asked. "We're contacting them. Many don't even know they've been deceived yet. Active cases." Narong showed him the list. 87 men confirmed, 23 countries. The story exploded in the international press. "Romance scam ring defrauds millions," splashed across the Times. "Deutscher Geschäftsmann entlarvt Liebesbetrüger-Netzwerk," announced Der Spiegel. Lucas woke up in Hamburg to his phone blowing up. TV producers, journalists, even Netflix wanting the rights to the story. Jonas showed up at the apartment with coffee and the newspaper. "You're famous, horribly famous," he said, flipping through the pages. "Look, there's a picture of you entering the police station in Bangkok." Lucas took the newspaper. Next to it was a photo of Siriporn being escorted away in handcuffs, still beautiful, but now with a blank, mechanical expression. The caption read, "Master of Deception faces 15 years in prison." "How are you coping?" Jonas asked. "I don't know," Lucas admitted. "Part of me feels angry, another part ashamed for being so stupid." Unlikely support group Robert, the Australian, suggested weekly video calls between the victims. They started with 5, grew to 17, men from different countries, ages, professions, united by the same wound. In the third session, an Italian named Marco shared, "I sent money for my father's surgery. Then I found out that my father died in 2015. She used a photo from his funeral to manipulate me." A Norwegian, Eric, revealed, "I almost sold the family business for a joint investment with her. My brother literally stopped me at the notary's office." David, the Brit who denied everything, finally appeared on the call. Thin, aged. "I need to forgive myself. It's the hardest thing," he said in a hoarse voice. Lucas realized it wasn't just about Siriporn. It was about endemic loneliness. Men who were professionally successful but emotionally failed, vulnerable to any mirage of connection. Facing the past. 3 months after the arrests, Lucas received an unexpected letter. Sender, Bangkok, women's prison, Siriporn. "I'm not going to read it," he declared, throwing the envelope on the table. But curiosity got the better of him. That night he opened it. "Lucas, I don't expect forgiveness, but you deserve the truth. I started at 19, a victim of sex trafficking. Crit was a client who became a savior, then an exploiter. I learned that vulnerability was a weapon. I used against you what you used against me, a vicious cycle. Your report freed me from a worse prison, the one I built for myself. Strangely, thank you. S." Lucas reread it 5 times, a final attempt at manipulation or a genuine revelation he would never know. Reconstruction. Jonas convinced Lucas to go to therapy. In the first session, the psychologist Dr. Petra Hartmann was direct. "You were looking for salvation in someone else. You needed a purpose." "I had a purpose. My company." "Professional, yes, personal, emotional. You outsourced your happiness." Months of therapy revealed patterns. Since his divorce, Lucas had avoided real intimacy, preferring controllable fantasy. Siriporn offered exactly that, transactional love without the complexity of a real relationship. "She didn't just steal money," said Dr. Hartmann. "She stole time, trust, dignity. Grief is necessary." Lucas cried for the first time in years. 6 months after Bangkok, Lucas launched a foundation, Beziehungsbetrugbewusstsein, Romance Scam Awareness, an educational website, lectures at companies, counseling for victims. At the launch, he spoke to an audience of 100 people. "I lost 32,000 euros. Others lost more. One man lost his home. Another lost custody of his children. But we all lost the same thing, faith in human connection. We are here to rebuild it with wisdom. Felipe came from France, Anders from Sweden, John from Texas. Together, they turned trauma into a mission. Robert took the stage. We are not fools. We are humans who yearn for love. Scammers exploit the best in us, our ability to trust, care, and connect. Let's not let them destroy that. Unexpected epilogue. A year later, Lucas was in a cafe in Hamburg when a woman approached him. She was German, his age, with a gentle but cautious smile. Sorry to bother you. I saw your lecture last month. I'm Clara. I was also a victim. Different scam, same wound. They talked for 3 hours. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into a walk along the Ulster, a real connection built on honest vulnerability without fantasies. As they said goodbye, Clara said, "Can we see each other again?" Slowly, without expectations. Lucas smiled, his first genuine smile in months. "I'd love to. This time we'll start with truth." Clara made coffee in Lucas's apartment kitchen while he checked emails from the foundation. Their relationship had grown organically. No rash promises, no fantasies, just real presence. "Something arrived from Bangkok," Clara called, holding an official envelope. Siriporn and Crit's final trial had ended. Sentence, 12 years for her, 15 for him. More importantly, an order for collective restitution to the identified victims. They would recover perhaps 30% of what had been stolen, but it was a crucial, symbolic victory. "It's over," Lucas murmured. "No," Clara corrected, hugging him from behind. "It's turned into something new, last connection." Lucas never expected to see Siriporn again, but an invitation arrived via her lawyer, a request for a restorative meeting, a pilot program of the Thai prison system for nonviolent crimes. "You don't have to go," Jonas advised over the phone. "You don't owe her anything." But Lucas needed to, not for her, for himself. Final closure. He flew to Bangkok for the 8th time. The irony did not go unnoticed. Inside the prison, the visiting room was Spartan, metal table, hard chairs, guard at the door. Siriporn entered, wearing an orange uniform, her hair tied back, no makeup. She looked 10 years older, but there was a clarity in her eyes that Lucas had never seen before. "Thank you for coming," she said in halting German. She had learned it in prison. They sat in awkward silence. Finally, Lucas spoke. "Why did you want to see me?" "The program requires me to confront the damage I caused. The psychologist said you were different, the first who really investigated, who fought. Others just disappeared, ashamed. It wasn't courage, it was desperation." Siriporn nodded slowly. "I know now that every man had a real life, a family, dreams. I didn't see that. I only saw numbers, targets. I dehumanized you just as Crit dehumanized me. Does that justify it? No, never. But it explains it." She looked at her hands. "Crit is in the men's wing. He filed for divorce. 12 years together, it was all business. There was never any love, just a criminal partnership." Lucas felt something unexpected. Not forgiveness, but understanding. They had both been imprisoned, in different ways. Mutual responsibility. "I want to do something," Siriporn continued. "Give lectures, warn young Thai women about exploitation, trafficking, how scammers recruit. I know from the inside, I can save others from becoming me. Redeeming yourself. Trying. I know it will never erase it, but maybe it will balance the scales, minimally." Lucas considered. "My foundation could use testimony from both sides, victim and perpetrator. When you get out, if you've genuinely changed, there's room." Tears ran down her face, the first real emotions Lucas had witnessed. "Why would you help me?" I'm not helping you. I'm helping the next potential victims, and I'm breaking the cycle, the wounded wounding others endlessly. Someone has to stop it. Final farewell. On his way out of prison, Lucas stopped at the gate, looking back. That building held the woman who had almost destroyed his life, but paradoxically freed him from the emotional prison he had built for himself. Somchai, the investigator, was waiting with the car. How did it go? Necessary, Lucas replied. Finally necessary. 2 years later, Epilogue Auditorium in Berlin, conference on digital fraud. Lucas on stage, next to him, via video conference from prison, Siriporn. She will show us how scammers think, recruit and execute, Lucas introduced, not to glorify but to educate. Siriporn, now fluent in German, described methodically emotional algorithms, vulnerable profiles, psychological triggers. The audience listened, fascinated and horrified. After the lecture, an elderly man approached Lucas. I almost fell for a similar scam. Your story saved me, thank you. Clara, now Lucas's fiancée, watched proudly. That night, in their hotel room, she asked, "Did you forgive her?" Lucas thought carefully. "I didn't forgive what she did. I forgave myself for allowing it. And I recognized her humanity, flawed, broken, but human, like all of us." Wise, Clara kissed him. Not wisdom. Survival. Carrying hatred forever would be a prison Siriporn could never give me. I freed myself. 3.5 years after his first message on the dating app, Lucas was in a totally different place. Not just geographically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. He lost 32,000 euros and 8 trips. He gained self-awareness, purpose, real love. In his last email to the support group, he wrote, "We were hunted for our vulnerability. Now we hunt scammers with wisdom, from victims to vigilantes, from broken to healed. Not despite the pain, through it, we carry on." Robert replied from Australia, "Amen." Philippe from France, "Ensemble, nous sommes forts." John from Texas, "Hell yeah, brother." Anders from Sweden, Till Sammons. David finally from the United Kingdom, "Together." Finally together.